Hey everybody, it's Len here today of Roxanne and Len YouTube channel. I'm here today. Today's video is to show you our Honda CR-V bed platform setup takedown process. If you haven't already seen it, we've posted the bed build process. If you have a look at that video, it'll nicely complement today's video. I'm here today doing this video post travels, so I've got the advantage of being able to show you the bed setup and takedown, having had the experience of doing it a number of times and learning the best process. Every time I did it, I found a better way and more efficient way to do it. If you decide to take on the same journey as us and try car camping, I'm sure you'll find the same way, that each time you set it up, you're going to find a better way and a better system for doing it. So I'll take you to our vehicle here. It's a 2016 Honda CR-V that we built a bed platform for and went camping and car camping with it. So thank you for joining us today. I'll take you to our setup here. Okay, I'm starting from scratch here. As you can see, our car is set up in its regular mode as a driver and passenger. The bed and all the parts are in the hatch. So when I built this, I specifically built it so that we could have the bed in the car and still be able to have the back seat up or down so that we could have potentially passengers. So what I'm going to show you today is how we'd go from this current setup to the bed being fully set up. Once the bed is fully set up, when we were traveling, it was actually, we left it fully set up, as you'll see later. So your first step is going to be getting your stuff out of your back seat into the front seats for your storage. Normally you'd have all your camp gear and all that in here. So you move all that to the front. We got to move our passenger driver's seat forward. And normally we'd be putting all of our camp gear or backpacks and all that in the front seat. Then our seats are going to go down. Oops. Start by putting in this piece of plywood, which kind of explained in the video that I mentioned, in the build video, the reasoning for this. I built this piece of plywood to support the back of the seats, just to protect them from the weight of the legs of the bed going on here. And next I'm putting in the middle piece of the bed. And what I did with the legs, I labeled them top and bottom, passenger driver side, so that when I'm setting up the bed, I use the permanent marker to mark them, so it's just easier and quicker. I mark the front, the rear, the top, the bottom, so I can just quickly get those out. That's especially advantageous when you're doing it in the dark or when it's getting dark. So having all those pre-marked. Okay, so I've pulled out the middle piece, the middle and top piece of the bed, which is the hinged piece. This is the front, middle, and back. And I've got 2 more legs that are going to go into place. They pin both into the permanent section and into the middle section, with 2 pins going in to the permanent section. And again, these are labeled for quick reference: top, front, rear, bottom, reverse. So I put those into place. Okay, so I've pinned the permanent section, and the middle section, it just rests up on these 2 back legs. This permanent section has the 4 permanently mounted legs on it all the time. So you just put that in place, and pin those into place. Takes a little bit of wiggling because the legs aren't precise. So we're just giving you a shot of what it looks like from the hatch side before we do our next step. So the next set of legs I'm pinning in. I've got the middle section pinned to the I'll start on these are the shortest legs, and they're double pins both in the middle and to the top piece. So we'll come back on camera once I've got these legs. So I'm pinning, I've got the middle legs pinned here. I'm just doing the last legs, which are the 20-inch long 2x4s. One goes behind the passenger and one goes behind the driver's seat. And that's a simple process, 2 pins each. So I'll pin this one and come around. Oops. Like I say, you got to wiggle the leg a bit. So now I've got all the plywood sections pinned out with the legs in, and we're putting our, I guess, our exercise mats into place that we just have for extra cushioning, just to give us a little bit of cushioning over top our stove bolts, so that when we put our cushions on here, we're not sleeping on top, you know, a little rock. So these we had, or these just very nicely fit into our bed space here, and they're highlighted in the video. If you wanted to see these actual parts, there's a link at the end of the video that shows. So next you're probably wondering what this is. I explained it in the previous video on the build, but this is a pool noodle that we invested in order to just have a bumper on the edge of the bed here. We cut it to 42 wide and then slice it down the middle so that we can just put it on the plywood here to put a buffer in between the molding here and here. We were just concerned about our molding being banged up and scratched. And I brought the cushions from the front seat to put into place. And we bought these chaise lounge cushions to use as our bed, instead of doing what other people sometimes do, is that they'll use the 4-inch memory foam, like just one solid piece. And the reason we chose to use cushions instead of one solid piece of memory foam is because that would have been very difficult to store away when not in use, because we'd have to roll it up into a huge cylinder, which would probably be the size of our hatch, and we didn't want to lose all that storage room and have the difficulty of having this big cylinder. So we chose to go with the cushions, because when the bed's not in use, these can easily just be folded up and put away into storage. So that's why we went with the cushions, and we found that they worked really good for us. And what we did is we had a fitted sheet. We chose to use sheets and blankets instead of sleeping bags. We had a fitted sheet we'd put over top this, and just a couple blankets, and that worked perfectly for us. For you, if you choose to do this, you might find that sleeping bags work better, but for us, we found just pillows and sheets and blankets work the best for us. So that's basically the bed setup. And I guess while I've got you at the rear of the car, I want to highlight one of the purchases we made that worked really well for us. There's these long, thin, Sterilite clear plastic buckets that we got that perfectly fit under here, that we use this in our travels for storage of our camp stuff and other stuff, and they just worked really well for us. So if you're interested, if you happen to be building the exact same model and dimensions, and you think you might be interested in this same set of thing, these actually are highlighted at the end of the video. There's a link to show you those. Okay, so now you've slept and you are getting up and you want to go back to driving mode and get your front driver and passenger seat back. So this would be the takedown process. Basically, we're going to take our cushions out to begin, temporarily put them into the front seat. And we need to take two of these foam mats off, and the long legs behind the passenger, behind the driver and passenger. Got to unpin those. A handy thing you'll want to keep with you just for quick removal of your pins is a hammer. It's just a lot easier and quicker to get your pins out. So you take out the two, I guess you take out more than two. You take out these middle pieces as well. And then you hinge back the middle section here. Put your legs just down behind the seat, and then move your cushions back into your hatch and put your seat. Then this is the basically, once we had it set up to this level, we never went back to putting the back seat up. We just left the bed set up with the middle section in it and the front section hinged back. And we found that was the best use of space for storage. We could put our cooler and our cushions, our camp gear and everything else all nicely packed into here. So the takedown was that simple, and these legs just stay in place and everything just goes back into the hatch or if you have a rooftop storage like us, it would go back into the rooftop storage, and that's basically the takedown. If you did want to go back to having the back seat, then you'd have to go to the process of just basically unpinning the middle section and sliding it back and taking out all the legs and pieces and then setting your back seat up. But we never never had more than just the two of us, so we just left it in this thing, and it just worked really well for storage. And then when we pulled into a boondocking spot, all we had to do is flip this forward, pin our legs, move our gear to the front, put our cushions in and our pillows, and we were ready to go. So that is the setup and takedown. And normally you wouldn't be doing this in the winter. So thanks for coming with us today for the setup and takedown of our camper or our bed platform. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like it, make sure you hit the thumbs up, and if you're interested in subscribing, we'd sure appreciate that too. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, thanks. Bye.